Centerpoint Archery, celebrating the timeless traditions of bow hunting. Inline vertical crossbows and draw lock. For bow hunters and target shooters worldwide, Crossbow Accessory Company, manufacturing safe and portable crossbow decocking system. And Taiwee, live your passion, Taiwee. Raven Crossbows, relentless innovation, that's the Raven way. And Crossbow Hunters of Minnesota, aim true and hunt free. Hey everybody, how are you doing? I got a podcast for you today. My name is Michael, and I'm the creator and owner of Crossbow Hunters of Minnesota. And today we are going to talk about the Whitetails Hunter's Guide to Acorns. So we'll dive into the art of hunting the acorn drop, revealing why acorns are a game changer for whitetail hunters. You'll discover the key differences between white and red oaks and how acorn availability shifts your deer patterns, and some expert tips I hope to help you stay on step, as you're out hunting whitetail this fall. So for hunters to understand the food source is like holding a treasure map to your deer activity. We all know deer have to eat, and one of their main things they do is they travel from bedding to eating. So to unlock that secret to the deer movement, whitetail deer, especially those mature bucks, food is an ultimate driver of behavior. So from harsh winter months, post-rut, to even spring when fawns are born and antlers start to grow, deer rely on that nutrient-packed food to thrive through those seasons and those challenges. And among one of the foods that's among their favorite to feast on are acorns. They actually do reign supreme in the deer woods as far as their choice of what they would like to eat. These tiny little powerhouses, acorns, are loaded with carbohydrates and fats, and they really deliver the calorie punch deer need to build strength and endurance. Especially right before the rut. That's the most demanding time of the year for those bucks, and the acorns give them that extra boost. So they will go and they will eat those. They will actually eat those a lot of times before any other food source. So to know the difference between white oaks and red oaks, well, knowing the difference that not all acorns are created equal is important, because deer have a clear preference for white acorns due to their they have lower tannic acid, which makes them sweeter and more palatable than the red acorns. Whitetails really are a creature of habit. We all know that, right? So returning year after year to a reliable white oak grove, they know that those trees are there, and they know that those trees will deliver acorns for them. So if your hunting area has both types of oaks, focus on your efforts on white oaks. That will align with your deer's natural instincts. The white oak drop annually starts in late August and goes into early September. And I know our season is mid-September, starts here in Minnesota, but even if they're laying on the ground, they'll still come and eat them as long as they haven't started to rot. Okay, so the white oaks, they'll focus their efforts on those white oaks first, because there is usually a mass crop every 3 years for those trees, okay? So white oaks produce a mass a year, an explosive bumper crop, we'll say, that can draw the deer in like a magnet. So timing your hunt with a mass crop deer can be a game changer for you. And the white oaks, acorns fall fast and they fall furious. You know, oftentimes if you're standing there under a tree, or if you're even in your stand next to one of them, you can often hear it sounds like a rainstorm or a shower that hitting the forest floor. You know, when that drop starts in late summer and peaks in early fall, those deer, they can hear that and they know that sound. But by midwinter, most of your white oak trees have dropped their acorns, and you know, the acorns are either eaten, rotted, or sprouting. So to capitalize on that frenzy, I would scout and hunt white oaks at the beginning of your season. So that's a little bit insight on the white oaks, and when is a optimal time to be hunting them. Now your red acorns, or reds as I call them, reds take 2 years to mature, so they only drop every other year, typically a few weeks after the white oaks. So you see that pattern there. Now those deer are going to switch their pattern from the white oak trees to the reds. Okay, and their slower drop makes them reliable for late season food source for these deer, you know. So that's kind of how we know where they're going to be in the later season too, especially after your fields and stuff are all, you know, if you're hunting in the Midwest and you're hunting in a farmland area, most of those crops will have already been harvested as far as the corn and soybeans and sugar beets. So this is a good late season food source. And your red acorns will fall more gradually to producing a steady food source well into your late season. You know, they're not like the whites where they just rain down their acorns. So if your white oaks are scarce or picked clean, shift your focus to the reds. You know, that'll keep you in the game in that part of the season. So, you know, I kind of touched on how these kind of pattern deer for you. So they kind of reshape the deer's patterns, you know. Like I was talking about in the agricultural areas, deer typically flock to crop fields for easy meals. You know, you always go drive around pre-season and, you know, you glass and scope, you know, your fields, especially your bean fields and stuff, and you'll see quite a few deer in there at that time. But the deer will typically flock to those crop fields for easy meals, but when the acorns start dropping, that changes everything. The white acorns, they're like candy to deer, you know, so they'll pull them away from fields and into these oak groves almost overnight. As soon as they start to drop, you'll see a big change. You'll notice that if you suddenly see a drop in deer sightings in your usual ag field that you have been watching, it's a sure sign that those acorns, the drop is underway. So my suggestion at that point is to already know where those white oaks are on your property that you're going to hunt, and how to set up on them, and, you know, have your routine ready for that. So I would suggest scout early and scout often. Knowing the exact locations of those whites and red oaks will give you that edge you're looking for. Hit the white oak groves as soon as the acorns start falling, if it's within season, because their short availability window means you need to act fast on them. When those white oaks again are done, deer will shift over to the red oaks and plan late season hunts around these trees to catch those deer feeding into the winter. So some final thoughts here for you guys. This is kind of a shorter podcast I just wanted to touch on these because they are such an important, tool for us hunters to use during our deer season. So acorns are the whitetails' obsession, and where acorns fall, deer follow. By focusing on those oak groves, starting with the whites in early fall and transitioning to the reds later, you're going to position yourself in the heart of that deer activity on your property. And you can use some mapping tools to mark these productive trees. You can mark the white oaks and the red oaks on your maps, and then you know approximately where they're at. And year after year, you won't forget where you found these at. But stay aware of that deer pattern shift, and let that acorn drop guide you to success. I think that's gonna be your best bet there. Ready to take your whitetail hunting to the next level? Trust the acorn drop to lead you to the deer, and make every hunt count that way too. You're going to be out there spending the time and putting in the effort. May as well try to get these odds turned in your favor. So, like I said, it's a shorter podcast, but I think it's a lot of information on there and gives you guys something to think about anyway. And then we also have more of these podcasts on our YouTube channel and also on Spotify. Both of them are under Crossbow Hunters of Minnesota. We have a website out there at cbhom and the number 2.wixsite.com/mysite, and then the number 2 again. We're on Facebook as well under Crossbow Hunters of Minnesota. So give those things a check out and see what you think, because like I say, we have other podcasts on there that have a lot of other information on them too. The next podcast that we put out here is going to be on a hunting routine, something that every hunter, I think, should have one if they don't. So we'll talk about that next time, and probably next week sometime I'll put that out. And in the meantime, if you guys would, I would appreciate you subscribing to our YouTube channel, and take a look at becoming a member of our group on Facebook. We have a lot of really great people on there too, and a lot of good information. So, but until next week, always remember, aim true and hunt free.